Commission Factory.
Hey there, hustlers. Welcome back to another episode of Flex Your Hustle. I'm your host, Michelle Lomas, and this week I got the pleasure to sit down in the studio with Sam Wood, the CEO and co-founder of Azura Fashion Group. You might be forgiven for thinking Azura Fashion Group is all about, well, fashion, but as our discussion will uncover, Azura is so much more than that. At its heart, it's a technology company on a mission to lower the globe's annual waste when it comes to clothing. How? You'll just have to listen to find out. Sam and I sat down to talk about how the business was formed, what's next for Azura Fashion Group, including their new venture, Azura Reborn, and some super interesting new trends hitting the global influencer and shopping market. This is a story not of fashion, but of how to build smart ideas with a purpose and a celebration of another Aussie company making waves in the global marketplace. I hope you enjoy. Sam, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Coming all the way from Newcastle, which is a bit of a hard slog all the way down to Sydney on a rainy day, so thank you. Why don't we start off for the listeners, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
Perfect. No, thanks for having me. So I'm Sam Wood. I'm the CEO and founder of Azura Fashion Group, and I founded it with my business partner, Tim Blaw. We founded Azura Fashion Group on the back of Burberry, Louis Vuitton, Prada, getting done for burning their excess stock and destroying all their excess stock to keep it out of the hands of discounters and to keep the brand a premium.
For the listeners, there might not be people who know about this. So explain what happened, because this was huge news. And I was working in New York at the time in a fashion house. And it was all of a sudden we had people walking around in the fashion house not wearing like Burberry, for instance, and some of the brands that were really called out for this quite astonishing behavior. So for everyone listening who isn't aware, do you want to dive in a little bit about what happened?
Yeah, definitely. So I guess the one that we kind of really zoomed in on was Burberry. Basically, they were holding stock back from wholesalers and retailers because they didn't want the Burberry name to be tarnished by discounting it all. This kind of happened year on year, but one year in particular, which was 2019, they burnt over, I think it was close to $200 million worth of stock, where they would just destroy and burn to keep it from damaging the brand and from discounters liquidating it to get rid of floor stock or excess stock.
Yeah.
Nike were part of this, Prada, Louis Vuitton. There were a number of brands that were part of this. And this was all over the news that when it came out, and we were talking with a retailer as well as a supplier that would buy Dolce & Gabbana in bulk during that time. And obviously this was something that he was struggling with as well. So what we wanted to do was create a platform for brands to be able to sell their off-season and past-season products into new markets without having to heavily discount. So we built Azura Runway. But by building that, we also fixed another need too, which was the need of these wholesalers or the number one distributors like Kering or this wholesaler that would buy Dolce & Gabbana in pallet loads. They would then sell it in pallet loads, but always be left with the ones and twos, like an XL Dolce & Gabbana suit that might not sell very well in Italy. But when we plugged it into our system, we found that it sold very well in the US and in Australia and New Zealand, just because of the different demographic. So that's how Azura Runway was founded and the company first started. And how we progressed from there was, rather than going out as a direct-to-consumer model and targeting that B2B, B2C avenue, we decided to go down the path of retailers, because when we started looking through marketing spends and Google Shopping, we're competing with the likes of the brands themselves, Farfetch, Net-a-Porter, ASOS, all these companies that had massive spends, because everything we were selling was luxury or high-end fashion. So we decided to go down the retailer path. So we, instead of competing with these retailers, we started
partnering with them. Great.
So we started partnering with the likes of eBay, Amazon, and Catch of the Day first in Australia to test that market, because that's where we originated from. And that kind of took off from day one, because no one else could get these kind of products at these kind of ranges as well. And because they were past season, they did come with quite a heavy discount with them as well, if the brands allowed. Otherwise, they were just pieces that no one else could find. So that kind of rolled out from there, and the business started to evolve and grow to a point where we're now selling across 65 retailers around the world. and we are buying from boutiques and brands in 17 countries now. It's really evolved from that point of view, and that's how the business started and grew.
Incredible. The scale of which you guys have grown in such a short period of time. I'm really interested in how you sort of started out as this retailer and then very quickly pivoted to partnering with other retailers and being almost like, I guess, the back end fuel that, of all the products that they sell. So like, what was that process like? When did you figure it out? And did you pivot quickly or did you take some time?
We kind of pivoted from almost day one. We worked out when we were doing the business plan that doing Google shopping was never going to be a viable option. Just because of kind of the cost per click and everything with these brand terms. We did try for a few months where we would push through the kind of Azura runway as a D2C brand, but we just found almost from day one what the revenue we were doing through eBay, Catch and Amazon was just almost 10 times the revenue we were doing through our own site. So we saw the opportunity there and ran with it with both hands, and by not having our own store focusing on, we weren't competing with these retailers as well, so we could kind of partner with them on a holistic level more than just a buyer-seller relationship, and that's really how we've grown the business from there.
Yeah, great. If you can't beat them, join them.
Exactly.
Right? And I like the fact you didn't hold on to, your own site. You kind of went, well, no, like that's just a distraction. Let's just focus on these partnerships. The interesting part of your business is you're kind of like a tech platform and you use a lot of data to be able to discern what's going to work where. So why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, exactly. That was probably the biggest hurdle that we came across when we first started, especially for when we were buying from wholesalers or the number one distributor. A lot of them would be line items where there'd be very little data in the actual data feeds for the products. So, for example, it would be a Armani black t-shirt. It wouldn't have anything like crew cut. It wouldn't have polo. It wouldn't have the size. Would be an Italian. It wouldn't have the material with it. It would be very basic. So we used different technologies and data to transform that and build that out and work out, all right, that we needed to convert Italian sizing to international sizing, or we needed to convert Italian sizing to US sizing, Australian sizing, UK sizing, because as we grew the business, we decided to branch out internationally. The data we receive from these brands is very limited, which is what also restricts a lot of companies from getting into this space. So we've developed our business to be more of a tech company more than a fashion company or a retailer, because our whole business relies on this data. Now, as we build the business more, we're now focusing on more of the strategic partnerships. When we first started, Farfetch was one of the companies that we aspired to and wanted to replicate a little bit in terms of how their business model with the suppliers and working with boutiques and trying to get Australian designers to the world and focusing on different pieces around that. We've now since entered into an exclusive arrangement with Farfetch where we look after all of their pre-loved fashion. So we get a feed from Farfetch, which would give us all their pre-loved items, but also we've now launched our buyback solution as well, which is customers can sell their bags back to us in exchange for credit to buy another pre-loved bag.
Yeah.
And again, that's powered by Farfetch.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I know that's your new passion project. So let's talk about it. Where'd you get there? Is this a nice evolution? How's it going for you? And maybe for people listening as well, like how can they get access to some of it?
Yeah, so middle of last year, we launched Azura Azura Pre-Loved, which was our pre-loved fashion, which was only luxury pre-love. So the Chanels, the Louis Vuittons, the Pradas, Gucci's, all the pre-loved bags. And then we've slowly rolled that out to incorporate clothing. And we partnered with the Iconic middle of last year and have launched the Iconic's whole range of Pre-Loved by Azura Reborn, which is now selling through the Iconic for luxury bags. That kind of took off through the Iconic, but also through other channels, where Pre-Loved is now 40 to 60% of our revenue at any one time. Now it's probably close to 60, and that's really where we're trying to focus in on this market. We're seeing that the trend of fast fashion is slowly eroding.
Yeah.
Fashion in general is continuing to stabilize, not growing too much. But luxury pre-loved fashion is growing at 16 times.
Isn't that incredible?
It's huge. And it is growing from a standing start, but it is growing at a huge rate.
Yeah, excellent. I'm curious as to know your first round, your first founder piece, you didn't want to do a direct-to-consumer site and now you are doing a direct-to-consumer site. What's the thinking behind that?
We just found that there was no one really doing pre-loved well in Australia. And we saw the opportunity where even through the year of COVID for us, pre-loved fashion just climbed and climbed in terms of market share for us. We are now connected to boutiques and auction houses and Farfetch and now Net-a-Porter where we buy their luxury fashion pre-loved. So we've got close to 60,000 bags at any one time on Azura Reborn.
Oh my God, the women listening are going to be like, oh my God, what is this site I'm going on there? Yeah.
And it's just a really good piece as well. And I guess going out there and saying, oh, we sell luxury fashion and we sell past season products is already a good story to go out there and stop these products from ending in the landfill. But going out there with a pre-loved message just emphasizes that a bit more.
Interesting. So how are you kind of marketing this? Because there's obviously a lot of messaging involved with this at many levels. The environmental responsibility factor, the access to products at cheaper prices, the ability to sort of sell and buy. So what's your marketing look like and how's it going?
So we've been quite quiet with the marketing in terms of launching the business. We wanted to get the foundation right, but we've gone through a lot of PR with Marie Claire magazine. We've gone through 7 News and a few other PR outlets to just show the market that we are here and that pre-loved is an educational piece more so than just here's pre-loved, go and buy it. It's more you can monetize your wardrobe, or this is the difference it makes on the environment by buying from pre-loved fashion. We also look at different ways of doing social selling. So as I mentioned, we're doing things with influencers in the US and we're starting to do it in Australia where people are coming to our warehouse or office and just doing a live stream and auction of some of the bags we've got there. And we're finding that especially millennials, they just love that. And it's just being able to see it.
What do they do? How do they engage?
It's just basically how they start. And there's a platform called Get Wanted. There's a little plug. But they go on the site, they upload their credit card, and then someone kind of sits there in their office and goes through, all right, we've got a Louis Vuitton Keep All 50 bag. And they go open the bag and show around the different pieces.
It's like the teleshopping of the 90s.
And it is. And this launched in Asia probably 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And this is how all people shop through Alibaba, Lazada. So it's just rolling out into the Western world.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that it's going to come to Australia within the next little while because it's just the way that people are shopping now.
What's the adoption of that like at the moment in Australia?
In Australia, it's been quite slow.
Yeah.
In the US, it's huge.
It's getting there. I know. I think Amazon and a few others deploy those tactics now as well.
They're starting to, yeah. I think eBay are looking to do it as well.
Yeah.
I know the Iconic are probably looking at this as well, but it is something that especially in the US, like you've got Depop, Poshmark, Get Wanted, StockX, and they're all doing this same thing. It's how people can really liquidate these bags. And someone with a following, and it doesn't need to be a following of hundreds of thousands, it just needs to be someone that has a following that knows fashion.
It's fascinating. I don't know. I just feel like we go through so many iterations of the same thing sometimes in marketing, like to hear that we're basically buying live on social, the same thing we used to do on TV.
Yes.
With the lovely lady that would come out with the beautiful pearls that you could buy by calling the number, and we're doing it again.
Yep.
It just baffles me, but it's really interesting. So you guys are, you've scaled to global heights, really. What do you think your secret is?
We've always been in sales and we've always been in trade, so buying and selling and using different commodities. But this has been very much about relationships for us and having these earlier conversations with wholesalers or even the brands themselves and finding out what these pain points are. Like we worked with a store during COVID in Bondi where they had all this Armani stock that they had on their floor, but because of COVID, their foot traffic just died. They had no online presence at all. So we partnered with them. We went in there and saw them and partnered with them and helped them get their products online. And we shifted their whole floor stock. We're not a big fashion company that's here to drive huge profits and take advantage of different things. We're a tech company, but it's the relationships we're building with the suppliers and dealing with the marketplaces that we can say, we can help you by doing this, and we're helping the marketplace by giving their customers access to these products. So it's really being a middle person and facilitating these campaigns. And I think that gets lost a lot of the way in with retailers and suppliers, where it's buyer-seller relationship, where we've tried to partner with everyone we can, even to the point where we're partnering now with Farfetch, which should be our biggest competitor, but we're now our biggest partner. We work with almost, I think it's 13 retailers in Australia that do luxury fashion. We partner with them because rather than competing with them, we're helping them get access to more stock. They're also giving access to our suppliers to be able to offload some of their stock as well. It's how we built the business. It's all on relationships.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think there'd be a lot of people listening who might be interested and curious about that, because there's always kind of, I guess, a desire to keep everything in-house, keep my product in-house. I'm going to compete. And certainly, like with some of these bigger retailers, it's too hard to compete anymore.
Yes.
We've talked a lot about lots of trends that are happening in fashion, etc., and shopping. I'm curious to get your perspective on the trends that you're sort of seeing in the affiliate marketing space too, because I know you work quite heavily with the Commission Factory team and in the affiliate space.
Definitely. And I think when we first launched the business with the Azura Runway, which was all our kind of the new products and the off-season products, Google Shopping and paid socials just wasn't quite an option for us because of how competitive it was and the kind of brands that we were selling. So we went down the kind of affiliate marketing avenue, and we partnered with Commission Factory, and we went through a number of different affiliates that would push our products until we found the right ones that were fashion centric, or ones that were going to an audience like stay-at-home mum, the blogging website. So we partnered with them, and we just found that the traffic we were getting from these sites and the conversions that were coming out of it were fantastic. So got around the need for actually going out there and promoting the store through paid socials or paid marketing. So because Commission Factory was driving us enough leads and conversions from the affiliates we're partnering with, so to a point where we're looking at how do we become more selective with Azura Reborn with Commission Factory and work out how we can partner with other people that share the same message. So it's not going out there to 100 affiliates, it's going out to maybe 3 or 4 affiliates, but doing, again, collaborations with them and doing really cool things with them, like offering their members birthday gift cards or offering a collaboration with their company, for example, for a stay-at-home mum blog. We would offer, for example, all the mums a discount code, or we would offer an extra 20% when they trade in their bags, and just different things that we can try with them, and even do guest blogs on our own site, is get some of these influencers or bloggers to come along to our site, try some of our fashion or try the experience, and then talk about their own experience or with fashion. We did a campaign with Havana Brown, the DJ, and she was talking about how she had a Dolce & Gabbana choker that she was eyeing off in this store for years and years. This one Dolce & Gabbana choker has had meaning to her before for years, so she's really had a story and a memory with that experience.
I love that. I think there's such a misconception with affiliate marketing that it can't be creative and it can't be content-led and it can't be collaborative like that. That's such a collaborative kind of approach to thinking about how to promote what you guys do. And also laddering back to the insights that you talked about before, where people want to know, again, more about the brand. There's a story behind it, that sentimentality and collecting fashion pieces is becoming much bigger again, just like it used to be. Super interesting. Do you think, from what you're seeing in terms of particularly, I guess, the influencer market and things like that, that is changing and evolving as well in the affiliate space?
Definitely. And I think one of the biggest things that we're seeing come out of the US especially is influencers partnering with brands, like the Jenners have just done with the teeth whitening. All they're doing for it is becoming a brand ambassador. So basically, for us, how it would be, say, Miranda Kerr created a vintage clothing store, and that would be powered by Azura Reborn. So Azura Reborn would list all the products on this store, and Miranda Kerr would go out there and talk about it and promote it to her followers.
Fascinating.
And we would basically be the back end behind it and doing that. And we're finding there's a lot of companies popping up that are doing that through affiliate marketing.
That's super interesting. And for a consumer, they wouldn't know the difference, right?
No, exactly.
They just think they're buying a celebrity brand and something that a celebrity's created, when in fact it's not at all.
Exactly.
You're obviously also hugely knowledgeable in the kind of consumer buying space and all the trends that are happening. For anyone listening is thinking about, okay, what's next from how consumers buy and how they shop and their decision-making process, what sort of advice do you have them?
I think the next 12 months are going to be quite interesting in terms of how people are going to shop. A lot of people now are looking at AI and looking at being told what to go and buy and how trends are being done. But I think we're moving away from those Instagram days where you see something on the Kardashians and you go out and buy it from Zara the next day.
Yep.
I think that process is gone or going. So it's more so about having one-of-a-kind pieces that we're finding. It's having pieces that no one else is wearing or pieces that you're supporting a brand. And that's a lot of the retail conferences that we've been going to is all about how to be more in touch with the customer, how to have more brand loyalty and how to have more engagement with those customers.
Yeah, really interesting. It's almost like we've come full circle again. It became very much about price and convenience, price and convenience, price and convenience. People are starting to be a little bit more discerning about the products that they're purchasing. Do you think from a circular economy standpoint, even just corporate and environmental responsibility, how is that set to grow? What do you think is going to happen in that space, particularly in the fashion space? Notorious for not being environmentally friendly.
I think every company is looking at ways how they can start going down this avenue. Whether it's the satchel bags that they go out in. We've just adopted like a plastic, which is the plastic that's taken out of the ocean to build the satchel bags.
Oh,
so it's going through different pieces like that. And every brand that we speak to is doing something around that model. And I think returns are the biggest headache for all retailers because the return policies and everything else, they're just dead stock. It's just dead money sitting on the floor. So being able to liquidate them through pre-loved is now an avenue for brands to be able to go down and liquidate the stock, but also join that circular economy and show that they actually care.
They're doing something about it. It's interesting. To your point, I think it doesn't have to be such a big thing to start off with, does it?
Correct.
Changing your packaging, reselling it, like those are the little things that can make such a big difference.
Definitely. And there's so many partners out there that we found, rather than trying to reinvent the wheel, we found that working with partners is a better way of going out there to market. So we're looking at how do we start renting out some of our returns, or how do we start renting out pre-loved items. So rather than going and building a whole new renting platform, we work with the likes of Designer X or Aerobe, and we look at how we can rent through those platforms and leverage their already existing technology and listing databases. So I think this next year, with retailers especially, it's going to be collaborations. You see it with Nike and Tiffany & Co. It's all about collaborations at the moment. So I think we'll see something with the Iconic doing a collaboration with maybe Maya or something along those lines where it's more and more happening.
And also create that kind of cool factor for consumers too. I'm getting something that's limited. It's only out for a short period of time. And that's something that I can keep and collect and not feel bad about. I'm buying something cheap that I'm going to throw out 3 months' time.
Exactly.
All right, Sam, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you coming in, and good luck with it. I don't think I have to say good luck. You guys are doing great.
Thank you very much. Been great.
Thanks so much for listening to another great episode of Flex Your Hustle. I don't know about you, but this has certainly inspired me to be a little bit more mindful about how I shop and how I research my products. Next week, we have another great episode to get inspired by. Here's a sneak peek.
I think it's important when it comes to your affiliate program to work with affiliates that you can't necessarily implement in-house. So say, for example, you want to target students and that's really difficult to implement in-house, perhaps consider a student partner that has access to do that. Likewise, we work with a range of specialized tech partners that, specialize in things like cart abandonment and all this really advanced tech sort of lingo. And if you can't do that in-house, again, why not do it by the affiliate space? And I think we always say as well that the cost per acquisition model, which by all affiliates sort of work with, it is really cost effective to do that as well, rather than, looking at that in-house and getting that implemented in-house. You can always use the third-party provider to help you do that.
If you aren't already, don't forget to follow so you don't miss an ep. And while you're there, why not drop us a rating and review? We'd love to hear what you think. Flex Your Hustle is made possible by the great team at Commission Factory and produced by Ample. I'm Michelle Lomas. Keep hustling and bye for now.
Commission Factory.